gender, climate change, abortion, and immigration. These topics all sound like they have nothing in common. However, they are all very related under one thing. They're all very polarizing. In America today, we face many issues, but there are some that are less talked about. And these issues that I just named, they're talked about very frequently, but no solutions are given for them. Now, another big issue is the number of shifts that we've had in our culture. Now, there have been a lot of notable things that have happened, but one of the less notable things is one of the main ingredients in making us less productive, and that is how politically correct we've become. It has directly impacted our sustainability. Now, as a nation, we really see politically correct like this: an avoidance of expressions that can be perceived as offensive or intolerant to socially disadvantaged groups of people. Now, that definition may sound clear-cut, but it's not. This is a very ambiguous definition that is very open to interpretation. I've highlighted two things here. Perceived is the first word I'd like to go over. As Americans, none of us perceive the same things to be offensive or intolerant. And therefore, this definition changes as you go from person to person. Everybody has their own bias. Now, the second thing is the socially disadvantaged groups of people. Now, in America, we rule by democracy, and that means we elect a majority of people to lead us. Now, the minority is always left out of that majority because they are the minority. Therefore, right from the bat, they are socially disadvantaged, and there will be political correctness happening. People will be offended. Or there will not be political correctness, I'm sorry. People will be offended. Now, sustainability is another thing we need to go over. This definition could not be farther from political correctness. It is extremely clear-cut. It is the ability to be maintained at a certain rate or level. Now, in America, we are not sustainable in passing laws and really in society at all. In fact, our Congress from 1987 to 2003 passed 123 laws per Congress on average. And 2005 to 2017, how many did we pass? Only 85 laws per Congress. This may not sound like a big deal, but if we group those into 6 years, then we can see that this is a clear downward trend. This is a lack of productivity, and this is a regression in sustainability. How can we grow as a nation if we can't even grow in sustainability? This is a 30% decrease. Now, let's talk about political correctness again. What happens when we have too little political correctness and when we have too much political correctness? What happens when we have too little? That's when people can justify offending a minority group to gain the majority's will, to get them to like them, really. And what happens when we have too much political correctness? People's ideas are stifled. They can't say what they think because they're afraid of how people may react. They're afraid of offending people. Now, there needs to be the right balance of these two things. So, we can go here. For an example of too little political correctness, we have Donald J. Trump, our current president. Now, there is a member of the House of Representatives by the name of Adam Schiff, and he is a chairman in the House. Now, the president refers to him as Adam Shit in this proposal, and you may say, well, that's just a joke, or you may be on the complete opposite side that we're not going to touch. So, if you are one of the ones who says that's just a joke and it doesn't mean much, well, I would argue that it may not mean much to you, but to 131,000 people, it means a lot, because now when they hear Adam Schiff's name, they're going to immediately associate it with Adam Shit, and they're immediately going to think, well, I agree with the president, and his ideas aren't valid. Many times before even reading those ideas. In effect, we have lost the ability to be impartial to people who we think aren't worthy of our opinion. Now, this is a lot like this prison that we have here. Yeah, I know, a prison, a big jump. Now, this was created by Jeremy Bentham, who was a philosopher in the 18th century. Now, they call it a panopticon, and it has 4 walls, just like any other prison, a tower, and a bunch of prisoners, and the purple dot is the guard. Now, they had a problem in this prison before they put the tower in, and that was that the prisoners were not behaving, and they were all acting up. And that was because they didn't have enough guards to watch over these prisoners. So what they did, they put a tower in it, and they put a guard in it, and they made sure the prisoners could never tell where the guard was looking. Therefore, they always had to be under the assumption that the guard was watching them. Now, that's a lot like what our legislators face today. They are these prisoners, and society, with social media and everything, being able to spread their words so quickly, they are afraid to misspeak or even to share what they really think. So they mask it, and they have to act like something they're not, and they aren't passionate about it, and they aren't creative with it. And that's where this lack of sustainability comes in. For example, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she recently put up the Green New Deal, and it was immediately shot down. Why? Because people hate Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, sure, there were some parts of the deal that were not good. However, there were many ideas that were wonderful in the deal, but people couldn't look past partisanship and make sure that they could see it. Now, what can you do to fix this? Make sure you stay in the middle. Look at how politically correct both sides are, and make sure you're electing moderate people who can negotiate with each other. Thank you.